Hey YouTube, how's everybody doing? So today I want to tell you guys about some scary experiences that have happened to me while driving at night. So I'm going to jump right into it. The first story takes place in western Pennsylvania up in the mountains near State College. So basically one night me and my friend were driving. We are coming back from State College. We had just gone hanging out, chilling, and we're driving on basically the back road that leads to Old 22. So Old 22 is basically an old highway that goes from central Pennsylvania all the way up to Pittsburgh. And we're driving down this highway, and all of a sudden we're just like going down, and my friend swerves, and I'm like, whoa. And then as we're driving, like the headlights on the left side of the road flash into this couple, and I look at them and I'm like, wait a minute. The couple was walking with a baby carriage, but what was interesting about the baby carriage was the fact that the baby carriage was covered, like it was covered with almost like a blanket. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like what the fuck is that? And what creeped me out even more is that when you're driving past, it's pitch black, like no street lights, no road lights, nothing. Like in the middle of nowhere in the country, cornfields. And I'm just thinking about the fact that, okay, they can see when people are driving. They didn't have phone flashlights either, but when there are no cars, it's pitch black. So basically they're walking into nothing. And I started thinking about, okay, if a car were to come on the other side and they're too close to the side of the road, they would get ran over. So I'm like thinking about it. Me and my friend are talking about it. We're like, what did we just see? We're in shock. And we couldn't wrap our minds around it. My friend is like, should we go back? And I'm like, no, don't go back. Keep going. And we were going at least like 75, 80 miles per hour down this winding road. Till this day, I did not forget that story because that is one of the freakiest things. And I still, like I said, I try and wrap my mind around it. I try and think, what were they doing out there? Why were they walking? I'm pretty sure maybe they were just thinking, all right, let's go for a walk. Let's get out of the house. But have a flashlight. Have some kind of flasher because no one can see you. And as for the baby, I'm pretty sure they also probably said, let's cover the baby up to protect it. But covering a baby up at nighttime when it's no sunlight and it's dark raises the red flags as well. So that's creepy story number one, guys. Moving on to creepy story number two. This story takes place when I lived back in Navajo Nation. I was driving back from a hot spring in New Mexico, and basically there's this old highway when you're coming down, and it's called like Route 12, and it goes through a town that's called Crystal. So this is like this really winding mountain road that goes up through the desert. And at the time the sun was setting, and I'm like, all right, just driving, watching the sunset, and then it got dark. As it gets dark, you know, like when you could see, if you're ever driving on the mountains, because it's levels, you can always see a car if it's coming up. So like, say you're like right here, there's a car that's all the way back here. You can see the car coming down as it's winding throughout the mountain roads. So usually, like, all right, you'll see the car one time and then you'll see the car pop up. But this car was moving. Like, this car started off way up here, and then you can see the car like going like this, almost like a snake, like an anaconda coming through. And I'm like, whoa, like this car is moving. So maybe about, let's say 2 minutes later, you can see the car coming up from behind on the straightaway. And I don't drive slow when I'm on these roads. I usually go about 75, 70, and then as we're winding and turning, I usually slow down. So this car is coming up, and I'm like, all right, there's no one on the other side. I'm thinking like he's gonna go ahead and pass me. So I kind of slow up and I ease up, and I'm like, all right, waiting for him to go past me. Instead of passing me, he comes up, and then like he's like literally on the bumper. So I'm like, all right, and then he turns on his high beams, and at this point I'm like, all right, like what is going on? So I go a little bit faster. At this point I'm going like 80 miles per hour. He's still tailing me. So then at that point I say, okay, let me just go ahead and get over. So my friend was in the side of the seat, and he's just waking up, and he's like, Ronnie, like, why are you pulling over? And I'm like, yo, there's this car that's been following me, man. He's been telling me the entire time. So as I pull over, the car pulls over as well, and I'm just like, nah, like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what's going on. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like just waiting. I'm like, all right, let me go ahead and get back on the road. So I get back on the road. He stays sitting there, and maybe about 1 minute later, I see him coming up again. At this point, the SUV was driving so fast that it was shaking from side to side. And then they flash the lights like 3 times and they go past. And I'm just like, what the fuck was that? So I was confused. I wasn't even like, I'm not even gonna try and think about this, but that was a creepy experience as well. Story number 3. This one happened in Pennsylvania as well when I was back in college, and this happened during a snowstorm. So basically, me and my friend were coming from getting some pizza, and we said, all right, let's just take the back road. You know, the snow wasn't coming down too heavy yet. We're like, we'll avoid some traffic and, you know, chat while we're on the way, because we went to the college in the middle of nowhere and there really wasn't much to do. So one of the coolest things to do was just to take some back roads and have a chat as you're going back to school. So me and my friend are driving, and we're just going, and as we get around the bend, I noticed, like, okay, something just didn't feel right. Like, you know when you get that feeling and you just feel like unease, something feels off. And as we're going around the bend, I'm like, okay, there's a car, and the car was parked in a place where a car usually shouldn't be parked or pulled over at. I'm thinking maybe someone had an emergency, maybe they just left their car sitting there. As we get up to the car, I look at it, and I'm like, wait a minute, that looks like there's like a figure sitting inside, like a shadow. And I'm like, that is someone sitting inside. And me and my friend, I'm like, yo, like, look at the person in the car. As we look in the car, there's this lady sitting in there, mind you, in the middle of a snowstorm. And she's just staring forward like this. Lifeless. No movement, no nothing. So like at that point, I'm like slowed down to like see, does she need help? Is she okay? We slow down. She's just staring forward. I'm just like, all right, stepped on it. I'm like, that was crazy. Like, usually if someone needed help, they would turn. Nothing. The car wasn't even started. There was no smoke coming out of the exhaust, and all I could think about was the fact that it was like 5 degrees out there in a snowstorm. So I'm like, all right, hopefully all is well with her. Kept on booking. That right there was another creepy experience. Same thing, like left with a sense of wondering, like, what is going on? But I'm like, you know what, who cares, just gonna get out of here. Story number 4. This one is similar to the car that was in the mountains, but this one's a little bit different. Similar story where me and my friend were going back to school. We're coming on a back road. Instead of being the winter, this one happened in the summertime. And basically, we were going down the road, and I feel like in the country you have a lot of turnoffs. So there was a car that was basically, I thought the car was parked at the turnoff, but the car started to turn out. And as soon as the car came out, they had their headlights on, but they came up behind us really close. And I'm like, all right, looking at the mirror, I'm like, let me speed up a little bit, gain some space between us. But then they sped back up, and then they turned their headlights off. So I'm just like, all right, like, where's the car? You can't see where the car is going. You can't tell how close they are behind you. And at that point, I'm just like I had that feeling like cold chills just running through me. I'm like, what is this? So the car has its headlights off, and then basically what happened was when we got to the point where when you get close to the town, there'll start to be street lights. So it goes from being really woodsy, and then all of a sudden there'll be lights that pop up. As soon as I hit that point, that car turned back around and then turned the headlights on. So basically for that one, I think that that's some kind of a gang initiation, or to see like how are you going to respond. Are you going to turn your headlights off too? And then if you turn your headlights off, the person's like, oh, you're in a gang too. I don't know. But either way, guys, those are my scary stories. Please like, subscribe, drop your comments down below, let me know what you think. And I have plenty of more stories, so let me know of any different topics that you would like to hear, or if you would like to hear more scary stories. All right, you guys, peace.